and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump admits that his immigration crackdown is hurting farmers in the hospitality industry. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
In a change of tone, the president acknowledges that immigration raids are having a direct impact on farmers who often hire undocumented workers.
They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that.
And he says changes are coming.
We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
But Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt tells the Salem Radio Network that the administration remains committed to worksite enforcement. Greg Clugston, the White House.
One passenger survived and at least 241 people have been killed in the Air India flight that crashed in Ahmedabad. In an interview, aviation expert John M. Cox says he's certain the issue of what caused the plane to crash will soon be evident.
The parameters on the flight data recorder are in the thousands. So once we get that recorder, they'll be able to know pretty quickly what happened.
A Washington insider says he's optimistic congressional hearings will bring out the truth about a White House cover-up of President Biden's declining health while he was in office. Bob Agnew reports.
The House Oversight Committee holds hearings on Biden's health next week, and Drew Holden with American Compass believes the truth will come out for all to see.
They'll get it. They'll connect the dots.
Several former White House aides will testify, and Holden notes that recent news reports should help the committee in its probe.
Particularly in the last couple of months, we've seen so much evidence come out that surely this was not just something that was overlooked or it was missed.
Drew Holden was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. Bob Agnew reporting.
On Wall Street, the Dow up by 101 points. More at townhall.com.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
I'm an artist and I'm in my studio. I listen to the radio all day and I'm hearing the ads about Relief Factor. And I've got pain in my neck and it's getting worse. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go ahead and order this. 2 weeks later, I've got much better range of motion. If you're experiencing pain at a certain point in life, I would get Relief Factor.
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to relieffactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Could see a sprinkle or spot shower this evening, but otherwise cloudy skies and the better chance for rain holding off until later tonight and into Friday. Off and on rain and thunderstorms Friday with a low of 70 and a high of 80. very muggy, and that high humidity is going to help fuel some isolated downpours. While we don't expect any severe weather, there could be some isolated spots that get a brief heavy rain. And then Friday night, the rain starts to taper off a little bit. Low 70 on Saturday morning, a high of 85 in the afternoon. Lower rain chances, but still a chance for a shower, thunder shower on Saturday, about 30% chance. Sunday for Father's Day, looking better. Partly cloudy skies and a high of 87 with muggy conditions. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
This is Katie McKinney, founder and head of school for Lafayette Academy in Lake St. Louis. Recently, we had a new second grader come to Lafayette Academy who claimed he was stupid and hated reading. Within months of using our world-class literacy program, he was reading Harry Potter and loving it. He had just not been given the right tools. We invite you to our open house Wednesday, June 25th from 5 till 7 and hear from our current families and learn more about our dedicated teachers and world-class curriculum. To learn more, go to LafayetteAcademy.org. That's LafayetteAcademy.org.
Tony Colombo here for my dentist, Dr. Matt Boscia at New Creation Dental Care, the one-stop shop for all your family's dental needs. And Dr. Boscia is always expanding his services, now including the incredible all-on-4 full arch implant procedure, full mouth restoration that can give you back your smile in as little as 1 day. No more suffering with damaged or missing teeth or poor fitting dentures. You can see some amazing smile makeovers, learn more about the all-on-4 procedure, and see everything Dr. Boscia can do right now at newcreationdentalcare.com.
So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Don't join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
A team that was in last place on January 3rd. The players on the bench are bouncing up. History will be made tonight in Boston. 15 seconds to go as Shen blocks a puck to the corner. 10 seconds remaining. Get up, St. Louis. Get on your feet. Raise them high. 5 seconds to go, and the time winds down. They did it. It's over. The game is over. The series is over. The wait is over. And the St. Louis Blues are the Stanley Cup champions for the first time in franchise history.
First of all, can I just say that Chris Kerber is the best play-by-play guy in the entire National Hockey League? I'd like to start there. Second of all, that day, we were so revved up where I worked. It was over at iHeartRadio because the Blues had never won a Stanley Cup, right? Worst to first that year. And there's a place called the Brick House in the Valley restaurant. We would go there for all the games, listeners and us would go sitting there. I remember one game that the Blues lost. It was this really long table and all of us on this side and people on that side. And it was after the second period. I said, should we switch sides for luck? So we did. We all got up and we switched sides. Maybe that would bring some luck. It didn't. We lost. But that day, by the way, Tim Jones is here, everybody.
Hello, my people. Where am I? What's going on? Is this do I do this show every once in a while?
I'm sitting in your seat. Is that okay?
That's absolutely fine. I literally landed at Lambert International. I guess we can still call it international. I don't know where it goes international to anymore, Vic, but I literally landed, I think 45 minutes ago.
Yep.
And as luck would have it, bag came through right away. Parking shuttle was there waiting for me. Wow. Jumped in it, got in the car started, got out, got here, and here I be.
Boy, I tell you, handle that well. I don't like flying at all.
I'm ready to go home and go to bed. But all is well. The show must go on. Thank you so much for being here today. I listened to a couple paisans talk earlier. You and the Bucci, and isn't he great?
He is. He's really great.
But you talked about some horrifying things, terrifying things.
Well,
why are we trying to? Why is humanity, Vic, always trying to completely mass murder each other all the time? What is wrong with us?
I don't know, but peace through strength, I think, is a very good idea. The only problem with peace through strength is when you have to show that strength when it's not peace.
Yeah, and isn't it amazing? The best, most powerful presidents we've had, they never had to go to the ultimate weapon, but they made the enemy think that they would. Of
course, peace through strength.
Reagan to Trump.
Yep.
And even, with all his faults on a lot of things, even George W. Bush was thankfully, better than a Democrat. I thank goodness we didn't have some goofy Democrat in office on 9/11. George W. Bush had a lot of other problems with a lot of other issues, but he was the right guy in the right time. So we had Ronald Reagan take down the Soviet Union. We had George W. Bush, thankfully in the right place at the right time for the war on terror. And now Donald Trump literally crafting peace in the Middle East and around the globe every single day.
Yeah. I think the one thing we have to worry about, if we're talking about nuclear weapons, is Israel and Iran, who are very close to each other. And both, well, we know Israel has nuclear capabilities, and who knows how close Iran is.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
we're thankfully, it's weird, Vic. We're like closer to peace, and yet still on the verge of war. We're closer to peace, I believe, than ever before in the Middle East, because so many of the Arab countries have embraced some forms of Western civilization and are opening their eyes to the fact that, maybe women shouldn't be treated as second-class citizens, blah, blah, blah. Saudi Arabia wants to have a very vibrant tourist industry and wants Americans to come there and spend their hard-earned dollars.
Abraham Accords.
And so on one hand, you have this big, Pax Novena happening. On the other hand, you have Iran saber rattling uranium enrichment every single day. It's a strange time we're in. We're like this close to peace, but yet we still have the lunatics running rampant.
And it's pretty scary when President Trump is pulling people out of Iraq.
Indeed.
And anytime that happens, I don't know, anything could happen. Do you remember how in Vietnam, how people knew to get out of Vietnam? You remember the story, right?
I think so.
The announcer on the radio would say, it's 105 in Saigon and getting hotter. And then they played White Christmas by Bing Crosby over and over again. That was your signal to get the hell out.
Get the heck out.
It's the embassy in Iran. You know what I mean? It always starts with pulling people out,
Yep. The embassy's first and then everything else.
I don't know. All right, let's get back to the Blues. Because it was on this day in 2019 that the Blues won the Stanley Cup. Sam.
So awesome. Doesn't that seem like forever ago, but yet almost like yesterday?
Well, when you hear it, it seems like yesterday for sure. So, they have Facebook memories and everything you did on this thing. So my first post of the day on June 12th, 2019 was, I'm so nervous I could puke.
I'm sure you were. That sounds about right.
It's Game 7, man.
Of course.
Game 7. There's nothing more exciting. And then an invitation to the Brick House. And then maybe we were down a goal or whatever, and I just put OMG. That one wasn't a good one. And then a little bit later, I said 20 minutes, boys, because we were winning going into the third period in Boston, by the way. This game was in Boston, and Lila got to go. Do you remember Lila, the girl?
I do remember Lila. Whatever. Is she okay?
She's great.
Is she great?
She's
okay,
great.
Good.
actually, JC updated us on her.
Oh, good.
On the Wayback Machine.
That's great. I'm so glad to hear that.
So I said,
I remember the Lila
boys.
story.
Then I said, final 5, boys. I was so revved up, Tim. You have no idea. And then, so we were at the Brick House, and I wanted to get the reaction from the bar. So I had my phone, and I was going around the bar looking at people, and I completely missed everything because I was filming everybody, so I had to go back and watch it to see how that went. The first Stanley Cup ever, and I got to witness it. I thought that was awesome.
June of 2019, 6 years ago. How is that possible? What a wonderful summer that was in St. Louis. I remember it very well. I have been a lifelong hockey fan. I played hockey I played hockey as an adult.
I can't even skate.
I couldn't, and we all learned a bunch of. I came back. I was much younger. I was in my 20s, late 20s. Came back from New York in 1998 and late 1998, almost 99. And then within a year or two, all of my buddies I went to high school with were back home. So everybody came back home. And my one friend, Kurt, one of my best friends of all time, he was like the first kid I met the first week I went to St. Louis U High back in 1985. We've been friends ever since. And he's a huge hockey fan, more of a hockey fan than I am. And a bunch of us are hockey fans. And he said, we need to join this men's hockey league thing called Hockey North America. They're going to teach us how to skate. None of us knew how to skate, hardly.
Wow.
And we're going to play hockey. I was like, that's crazy. And we all started, and we had this lady who was a hockey player, and she taught us all how to skate. And I can, to this very day, Vic, I take my kids skating, and that's the one. Your kids aren't that impressed about it. Well, they are. They love you and they're impressed with you, but they're always like, dad jokes and all that. My kids are still very impressed that I'm the best skater in the family. Wow. I can still skate really well. Forwards, backwards, sideways, all that stuff. I haven't really handled a hockey stick in a long time. I could probably pick it up again, but I still skate a lot. And so we learned how to skate, and we put our team together. And you may not be surprised about this. They made me the captain, not because I was the best player on the team. Nowhere near. I was average, but because they're like, well, you're the organized one.
Yeah, you're the litigator.
You're the lawyer guy. You're the politician guy. You're the manager. You're like the manager. You're like the leader guy. So Jones, you're going to be the captain. You're going to take care of all administrative crap. I'm like, great. And so I took it pretty seriously. And over the next few years, we went out and recruited. So we went out and recruited as many ringers
for
as
a recreation league.
Recreation league, men's no check, but no contact. Hockey, you have contact.
Sure.
Even if you couldn't intentionally check, but there was plenty of contact. And we were called the Stampede. And it was this charging like rhinoceros, little badass rhinoceros. And we had away and home uniforms. It was the whole deal.
Wow.
And it was a league, and it was part of North America. So there's teams like us all over the country. And we kept getting better and better. I think I played for 6 seasons. And the 4th or 5th season, we ended up winning the quote. We won our division. Everybody's in divisions, right? You want to make it fair, right?
Sure.
It's kind of handicapped like golf.
Sure.
So we win our division in St. Louis, and we get an invitation to go play in the finals in Toronto.
Wow.
So we all think we're hockey players now, we're getting on a plane and we're going to Toronto. I think one year we went twice, and we're staying in these hotels, and we're playing in all these rinks up in Canada. And one year, Vic, we won the cup.
Wow. You beat the Canadians?
We beat whoever we played. I don't remember.
Wow.
And we won the whole thing. And so we went from not being able to skate, starting off in the D division here in St. Louis, up to the A division in St. Louis. And then we qualified twice over those 6 years to go play in the Invitational Tournament in Canada, in Toronto. Had a blast. I made lifelong friendships. Some of these guys, I haven't played hockey with them in decades, but I still keep in touch with some of them. And it was just like a real hockey team.
That's great, man.
We had our fast ass forwards. We had our big ass defensemen who anytime I'd I was kind of chippy. I'm kind of a chippy player, So I get chippy with people, and then they'd come after me, and then I just go skating over and stand next to one of my defensemen.
The big guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so funny, Tim.
Anyway, so happy when the Blues won the cup.
I got things to say about what you just said.
Okay.
So I remember as an young adult, the day that I realized that these guys are doing all this and they're skating at the same time, Right. I know it sounds stupid.
Yes.
But, I can't even skate, much less all that other stuff. So that's that. There was a time, Tim, when the NHL players were 90% Canadian and 10% Americans. And that was it. There was no Russians and people like
Czechs
that.
and all that stuff.
And now look at it, right? Now it's all over the world. And you said that your family is proud of you because you're the best skater. I guess being from New Jersey, my family is proud of me because I'm the best pool player.
There you go. Everyone has their talents.
I love pool. You play pool?
I do. We used to play quite a bit. I haven't played. I don't play regularly, but again, St. Louis U High here in town, we had a rec room in the basement level of the U High building down there on Oakland Avenue.
Yeah.
And the entire basement was like rec facilities for us kids.
Wow.
And so we had pool tables. We had the shuffleboard, the tabletop shuffleboard. We had something called wall ball, these little rubber balls, and we'd like play basketball inside.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was probably a bad idea because all these I think they took them all
Probably
down.
was a bad
they were
idea.
They were like metal, and we'd always be cutting our hands on them and stuff.
What could possibly go
and
wrong?
Get this.
Yeah.
I doubt they have this anymore. Maybe they do. Rifle team with a rifle range in the basement of St. Louis U High. I was on the rifle team in the city shooting 22s in the basement of St. Louis University High School.
Wow.
Back in the day.
Sanctioned by the high school?
By the Jesuits back then before they went crazy.
Jesuits like, shoot at anybody.
Yeah.
So that's great. So I always loved playing pool. My uncle had a bar in Newark, and he had a pool table. That's where it all started. And then there was this place in Belleville, New Jersey called Guys and Dolls. It was a pool hall that was open not all night, but pretty late. We used to go there all the time. And my brother, believe it or not, was a junior champion in pool, and he won a whole bunch of tournaments when he was a kid.
Wow, you guys were serious.
So when I went to college, Montclair State College, the arcade room, whatever you call it, filled with pool tables, regulation size pool tables. And so I said, I got to bring you. So I brought him up, and this girl that I really liked, you know, when the girl that you really like tries to make you look like a fool because she doesn't like you. So I brought him up there, and she goes, "Oh, would you bring your brother up for show and tell?" I said, "Yeah." So I turned to him. I said, "Take all their money." I went to a class, came back. He already had $150 on him. He didn't have any money to start with because he knew he would win. So anyway, yeah, pool was a big part of my life. Well, Tim, I can't thank you enough. I had no idea this was part of the gig. Like you coming in today.
Yeah, I told Joey I was going to do my best to get back here.
So when we get back, do you want to do the speaker stump speech,
or do we have a guest?
We have no more guests. I'm your guest.
So I'll do the stump speech when we come back because I got a little piece I want to relate to you.
Okay,
and then we can talk about it. It's called you know Buchanan.
Yeah,
Buchanan. The Buchananite moment in L.A. It's an interesting take from the American conservative.
I love this.
And the little subtitle is, just to give a little teaser, the riots have both the Democratic presidential frontrunners and Donald Trump playing to their bases. We'll see who wins.
I love it.
We'll see who wins. So the Buchananite moment in LA. And it's a reference, Vic, to something you'll know well. Back to the 1992 RNC convention in Houston, where they had a similar riot. And of course, then we can go back even further to 1968 Chicago.
All right. That was the the crazy seven, the wacky seven.
So we'll talk about what happens to Democrats every time they try to burn their own stuff down.
Okay, that's next. Tim Jones on his own show. How about that? On 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL, #1 for live and local conservative talk.
It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
You can say let's go blues all you want, but you know what? We went blues.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Could see a sprinkle or spot shower this evening, but otherwise cloudy skies and a better chance for rain holding off until later tonight and into Friday. Off and on rain and thunderstorms Friday with a low of 70 and a high of 80. Very muggy, and that high humidity is going to help fuel some isolated downpours. While we don't expect any severe weather, there could be some isolated spots that get a brief heavy rain. And then Friday night, the rain starts to taper off a little bit. Low of 70 on Saturday morning, a high of 85 in the afternoon. Lower rain chances, but still a chance for a shower, thunder shower on Saturday, about 30% chance. Sunday for Father's Day, looking better. Partly cloudy skies and a high of 87 with muggy conditions. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Hey everybody, it's your buddy Todd Showalter from the Right Mind Show, along with my buddy Joey V. And remember, we're not on just Saturdays at 5. Now we're on Sundays at 2.
Putting the fun in our dysfunctional world. It's the Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter.
You know, it's always great to have a fantastic lawyer by your side in your corner, and I can't think of a better one for you to get a hold of today than Todd Sivia and the gang at the Sivia Law Centers. You can reach them at any point in time and during business hours. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL or CiviaLaw.com. CiviaLaw.com. Civia Law is Todd Civia is the kind of guy you go speak with when you're talking about any sort of life's challenges or transitory periods, right? Like estate planning, or maybe taking care of the favorite seniors in your life, or maybe younger folks in your life, because Todd Civia specializes in both elder law and in special needs matters. He also specializes in real estate and business matters, as well as, like I said, estate planning. These are all things that you should not wait until it's a crisis and then you have chaos, right? I would urge you to go to Todd Civia today and do all this proper planning, get all this advice while you don't have like pressure upon you. So again, he's at 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, or CiviaLaw.com. Business law is something that Todd loves to do because he is a business owner. He's got 7 Civia Law centers, and he also dabbles quite a bit himself in real estate. So he knows all the challenges and the things and the pitfalls and things you got to prepare for when you're dealing with those kinds of matters. And he'll help set you up with your business. He'll help you work through all those tough choices and decisions you got to make. And then when it's time to sell your business and hopefully move to the Caymans or wherever you're going to do in retirement, he can help you with that as well. So for all of life's challenges, for all of life's transitions, for all of life's important planning stages, I want you to call Todd Civia today. Set up an appointment, go talk to him. Mention News Talk STL. You'll get a complimentary strategy session for any of the areas of law I mentioned, and he practices and many more as well. 7 locations around the St. Louis Metro. There is one near you. 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, CiviaLaw.com, CiviaLaw.com.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Dropping truth bombs and making you think. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
And welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Yeah, it's Tim Jones. I made it. I want to thank Vic Porcelli for filling in a couple times this week, and thank Susie Moore as well. Yep. I think I'm here tomorrow. I don't even know where I am.
If you can make it, we'd love to see you.
At this time of year, Vic, I got to get used to the new, so the first half of the year, I have this routine where it's an insane routine, but I get up Monday mornings, I get everything all ready, I pack up, I head to Jefferson City, I do the show every afternoon with Chris remotely I'm in Studio Schroer. He's here. Thanks to Phil Valencia. Yeah. We've got this awesome studio that sounds just like all this stuff, and it all plugs back in, and it's all seamless and effortless. And I do the show Monday and Tuesday, and then I drive back here on Wednesday, and I'm here. And so it's crazy. It's nuts. I probably wouldn't have it any other way. And I get that from I get it from both my parents. My dad's one of the hardest working guys I've ever met. And my mom is crazy Italian, so going
Nothing wrong with that.
Going 1,000 miles an hour, right, all the time. And so I do that. I get in that rhythm. You get in that rhythm and that routine. And I do it for January, February, March, April, most of May. And then we finish session, and then we went into the stupid not so special session. Thank goodness that's done. And now it's a new routine where it's a little more scattered and haphazard, where I have conference travel and things like that, because I get to work with all these awesome people that we get to then interview here, like Grover Norquist with Americans for Tax Reform, and Jonathan Williams and the folks at ALEC, American Legislative Exchange Council, all these brilliant people, State Freedom Caucus Network, Andy Roth, and then of course the local elected officials I get to work with, like our own State Senator Nick Schroer, who we all get to speak with throughout the week, and he has his own show on Sunday nights. And all the other members of the Freedom Caucus, like Justin Sparks and Adam Schnelting, who's a state senator in St. Charles, and Holly Jones, my state rep. No relation. She's my sister from another mother. The ones who are really hateful towards me, Vic, they say, "How's your daughter doing?" And I'm like, okay, I'm not that old.
Hey,
I'm
when
not
I go
that-
out,
I'm not that old.
When I go out to dinner with my wife, you go, "Look at that girl. That nice girl's taking her father out to dinner." Shut up.
Exactly. Same thing.
So wait.
So here I am. So I just got back from DC. Had a great time. I was up there. I talked to you yesterday morning. I was with Grover Norquist, ATR, Vic. They all claim, everybody in DC says, we're going to get the one big beautiful bill over the finish line. It's going to happen.
I just hope people appreciate what you're doing. I hope people in the state appreciate what you're doing for them.
Well, I thank you, and I hope it's and Jeff says it is. I hope that what Chris is in Israel right now. I'm going to go at the end of the month. There's no reason to listen to any other station.
I agree.
Who the heck in St. Louis has all this talent, with all these people, with all these connections? We get the latest, most interesting breaking news first. We know the most important people. I mean, I was hanging out last night with Senator Schmidt after the ball game.
How about that?
He had 2 hits. Two hits.
Yeah.
He said, I shouldn't have tried to stretch that one to a triple. He got thrown out at third, but not before he drove in 2 runs. He had 2 RBIs.
Here's the only question: was it the first or third out of the inning?
It was the second.
Oh, that's okay then.
It was okay.
You could take that chance, but you never make the first or the last out.
Oh, okay.
Go in the third. That's just an unwritten
So
rule.
he came over. We had a little after. He was very kind. He and his people had an after party right outside of Nats Park, the Nationals Park, and it was at a place called Silver Social, really cool joint. And we were upstairs, and like his senior staffers were there. They're wonderful people. Kelly Sandu is his coalition's director. She's one of my good friends, and we hung out there all evening and had a great time. Oh, you know who we were hanging with? Your buddy Nate Lucas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Nate Lucas was there.
Wait, now this isn't important. Was he eating cookies? He wasn't eating cookies, was he?
No, we were eating, I don't know what we were eating, pizza, wings, stuff like that.
So did you see the play that August Pfluger made?
I heard you talking about that this morning.
Look at it. If the bases are loaded,
Yeah.
right? There's 2 outs. The ball goes.
Yeah, there it is.
Brooks Robinson type of dive.
Wow.
Gets up, dives for the bag, and gets him. That's a pretty good play.
Yeah. Vic, after the GOP was up like by 10, we started kind of not paying attention.
Started drinking more.
I think they won 15-2.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Fifth win in a row.
Nats Park is okay. It doesn't have the character of Busch. It's fine. It's a nice new ballpark.
It's got the
all right.
DC stank. You know what I mean?
The area around it is actually nice. They built a really beautiful ballpark village right there.
Is it in DC?
It's on the harbor there. It's on the water. It's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a pregame at a place called Salt Line, oysters and lager.
Mm-hmm.
So we were eating oysters and drinking beer, and we were on the water, and it was cool. But I'd never been to the congressional ball game. I thought, oh, these guys, you know what? They take it very seriously. They have the uniforms on. They had all the umps on the field. They had the scoreboards all lit up. It was a legit, like Major League Baseball style game. Republicans versus Democrats. Tons of money raised for charity, which is wonderful.
I will be honest with you, and I'll admit I didn't even know there was a congressional baseball game until Scalise got shot. That was the first time I knew there. All right, so let's do Speaker Stump speech here.
Yeah, I got. So you've been talking about the LA riots.
Yeah, doesn't he play the thing?
I got a little. Yep, I set it up. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the LA riots today, Vic.
Yeah.
And you of course know Pat Buchanan.
Yeah.
The famous Pat Buchanan. So the title of today's Speaker Stump speech is "The Buchananite Moment in La La Land."
Listen to me, listen to me.
I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
It's time for the Speaker's Stump Speech, sponsored by Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com.
All right, Vic and gang, this is from the American Conservative. Article's not terribly long, but I'll hopscotch around a little bit of it just so we can get through it and then we can talk about it. So the American Conservative, fellow right in front of them, W. James Ansell III. Well, he sounds smart just by his name. He wrote today about some comparisons between these riots and ones we've seen in the past. And it's a lesson that should be learned for Democrats, but they never learn it. And so that could probably help the rest of the country out, because hopefully then this will be a teaching moment once again for patriotic Americans who don't hate America. The last time the phrase Los Angeles riots dominated the national headlines, Patrick Buchanan told a story about order being restored to that very city. The mob retreated because it had met that one thing that could not stop it, he said, at the 1992 RNC convention in Houston. Force, rooted in justice, backed by moral courage. President Donald Trump has been compared to Buchanan before. As streets burn in L.A. in defiance of federal immigration law, because, folks, that's what this is all about. The Democrats are mad that federal immigration law is finally being enforced after 4 years of it not being enforced at all. That's what this is all about. Keep that in mind. Trump may have the opportunity for his ultimate Buchananite moment as he sends in the National Guard. These LA riots are even less defensible than the ones of about 3 decades ago. Nearly all big city riots end up doing more damage to communities that are already hurting. We make that point, Vic, over and over again. Why do the Democrats tear down, blow up, and destroy their own stuff? These mobs are attacking the very legitimacy of immigration and border enforcement. Republicans didn't win the 92 presidential election. In fact, they lost California in the Electoral College for the first time since the country went all the way with LBJ, the last president to federalize the National Guard against the will of a Democratic governor back in 1965. The aftershocks of the 90-91 recession, compounded by a promise-breaking tax increase, that should be another lesson that we're going through right now, signed into law by the GOP incumbent, still lingered. Remember? Read my lips. Instead of Buchanan, Republicans renominated the incumbent who broke his pledge not to raise taxes, presided over the recession, and generally seemed more interested in the New World Order than American domestic affairs. But in Bill Clinton, Democrats nominated someone who balanced his sympathy for Rodney King with a rebuke of Sister Souljah. That's the famous Sister Souljah moment of Bill Clinton. Clinton was also the party's first presidential standard bearer in a generation to back capital punishment for murderers, just 4 years removed from the Willie Horton fiasco. Clinton promised to help pass a crime bill and hire 100,000 new police officers to patrol the streets. Today's Democratic elected officials agree with the anti-ICE rioters that mass immigration, even when illegal, is the civil rights issue of our time. They believe the next phase of the resistance should be to resist the deportation of illegal aliens. Governor Newsom, L.A. Mayor, I call her Baghdad Karen Bass, find themselves appealing to states' rights. Isn't that rich? Some of the people being deported may be sympathetic on an individual basis, even if Albrego Garcia, the Maryland man, does not seem like the best example for them to lead with which to make that point. Democrats are ignoring a diverse coalition of voters, including a majority of Hispanic men who elected Trump precisely to get this immigration disaster back under control after what I said earlier, 4 years of neglect under President Joe Biden. The polls suggest that even 7 months into the Donald Trump presidency, the majority still clearly support that endeavor because at their root, most Americans still want us to follow the rule of law. In 2024, Gallup, the polling folks, found 55% wanted reduced immigration levels across the board. That was the biggest majority behind that position recorded by the venerable pollster since 2001. 16% supported an increase in immigration. I don't believe it's because we're suddenly a nation of a bunch of racists. Right. I think it's because people want to return to law and order. It isn't 1992 anymore. Neither is it 2020. At a purely naked political level, each party is heating its base. Republicans elevated Trump over 16 other candidates a decade ago because they believed he was more serious about immigration than his rivals. They helped return him to the White House after the Biden border crisis. Biden unleashed that influx because he believed AOC was the future of the Democratic Party, and he could not dare to be called the deporter-in-chief like his former boss, Barack Obama, was. Let me jump to the end here.
Yeah.
The Democrats, led by a California governor who would like to be their 2028 presidential nominee, they have chosen not the American people and all varieties of the American people, black, brown, and all the colors of the rainbow, who said, stop this mass influx. The Democrats have instead chosen to continue to go with the mob. Trump has picked the other side. We will eventually see who is right. For now, it looks like it will take massive overreach or another recession to turn the tide. Bill Clinton isn't walking through the door now, but maybe Pat Buchanan is. And that's the Speaker's stump speech for today.
You're a stable genius.
Well, thank you very much.
So 2 things about Clinton that really, when he said, I think this was at an inauguration speech, he said the era of big government is over.
Mm-hmm.
But we say that now, and we're racist and we don't like brown people.
Right. Like you said earlier, we're the Nazis.
We're the Nazis.
Right.
And not for nothing, but Bill Clinton, we have it. Kenny plays it all the time. He says, I believe together we could make America great again.
He was the original MAGA.
Yes, he was. He was the original MAGA.
Mm-hmm. What happened to that? What happened to that? What happened to that part of his brain?
Because Donald Trump said it. Because Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
And Bill Clinton also said, welfare, not forever, but welfare to work.
Yep. And okay, so I don't know if you heard this on your travels, but I made a prediction. Saturday is going to be the big military parade,
yes.
right? And somebody is going to make a meme that's going to have, on the right, it's going to have Donald Trump, and the tanks and troops are going by, and he waves to them, and they're going to stop it and screenshot it so it looks like the Heil Hitler thing.
Of course.
Right next to Hitler in one of his military parades. Guarantee that's going to happen.
I think you've called that really well. You know, Vic, people are tired of Democrats using all of the extremes to their benefit. On one hand, Americans are tired of this complete lawlessness and this lack of disregard for things that we've always accepted as fact and as truth and as the American way, right? And that's why we have so many people distrusting our institutions right now. So that's on one hand. On the other, so they want to return to law and order, but they want it to be fair, right? Democrats always run around talking about equity and equality and all that, but they only mean when they're doing it, right? For their own ends and purposes. Americans are also tired of the weaponization of the legal system for the wrong things.
Right.
So Democrats don't want our legal system to be used for the correct things, like enforcing our borders, right? And making sure that we don't have killers, rapists, and terrorists running around the streets. They do want to use our system to attack law-abiding Americans who are doing nothing more than doing things like exercising their freedom of association and their First Amendment rights.
Yep. And I think we just have to be a step ahead, like in a chess game, and find the traps. This Padilla thing this afternoon was an absolute trap.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't send some white guy.
It's on the monitor right now.
They didn't send in a white guy.
Of course.
They sent in Padilla, who is, anybody could have walked in there at any time. So he bursts in, you suck. And then they take him out. And what does the left say? Oh, Donald Trump hates brown people. It's a trap.
It is.
Everything they do is going to be a trap, Tim. And we need to be a step ahead and say, what is this trap I sense? My spidey senses. What does it feel?
And I'm hoping that Americans, and I think they are, figuring out that everything Democrats do these days, unfortunately, is not for the betterment of the country, but entirely for political showmanship.
And everything Democrats say, the opposite is true.
You're right about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. One more segment to go with the great Tim Jones on his own show. I feel like stupid that I'm doing. You should be doing this.
We'll be back with one more. One more right after this. And, I likely won't speak with you tomorrow, but maybe we can talk about little Father's Day stuff since you and I are both dads.
What tomorrow?
Well, I won't be speaking with you tomorrow, but we're heading into Father's Day weekend.
So you're not talking to me now?
Well, I'm going to talk to you today about it.
I'm a Jew in training with Karen Cataly. What, you're not talking to me now?
Isn't she the best?
I love her to death.
You know where she came from.
I know. Your show.
The original Tim Jones show.
I know.
I'm glad, but you know who found her? The great Ken Williams.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. I'm so glad you guys refound her and that she's here now exclusively on News Talk STL where she belongs.
And I'm a Jew in training. She says I had the guilt just like the Jews,
Well, Italians and Jews, there's probably not a whole lot of.
Yeah,
there's a lot of similarities.
Tony Soprano said, Italians and Jews the same thing. Italians just have better food.
Indeed. Vic, we'll be right back with Vic Porcelli and Tim Jones. The Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Executive producer Joey V's here as well. One last segment, 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
A riot is an ugly thing. And I think that it is just about time that we had
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Could see a sprinkle or spot shower this evening, but otherwise cloudy skies and a better chance for rain holding off until later tonight and into Friday. Off and on rain and thunderstorms Friday with a low of 70 and a high of 80. Very muggy, and that high humidity is going to help fuel some isolated downpours. While we don't expect any severe weather, there could be some isolated spots that get a brief heavy rain. And then Friday night, the rain starts to taper off a little bit. Low of 70 on Saturday morning, a high of 85 in the afternoon. Lower rain chances, but still a chance for a shower, thunder shower on Saturday, about 30% chance. Sunday for Father's Day, looking better. Partly cloudy skies and a high of 87 with muggy conditions. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Vic for Vets, honoree of the day.
We honored a veteran, Lieutenant Nelson Williams, from the Civil War on Vic for Vets. And thanks to our supporters, PJ Firearms, Patriot Heating and Cooling, and Best Buy Flooring.
The Vic Porcelli Show, weekdays 9 to noon on News Talk STL.
Okay, I know we're still getting plenty of rain here in the heartland, but like I told you, we are inching closer and closer to these typical hot Heartland summers. So if you haven't gotten hydrodynamics out to your homestead to put an irrigation system in, or to make sure that the one you have, whether you purchased it from them or not, is up to snuff, you're going to regret it if you don't get a hold of them today. Hydrodynamicscore.com. Hydrodynamicscore.com. See, we've already got the rising temperatures. We're over the 80s now. We're going to be knocking on the door of the 90s. You just heard there from Steve Templeton, the humidity is coming back in. What usually happens is going to happen. Yeah, for once, we had a bit of a longer, very wet spring. We're going to dry out. It's going to be hot and humid, and you're going to regret not getting a hold of Hydrodynamics Core like I've been telling you to. So do it today. In addition to irrigation, they have this fantastic 6-step plan that will provide your homestead or your business. Yes, they handle residential lots. They handle commercial facilities. No area of grass too big or too small for them. They've got that turf plan. It's a system of weed prevention and fertilization. It's 6 steps basically throughout the year. And that way you don't have to worry about, you don't have to go to the store every few weeks and be like, oh, what do I buy? And how do I put it down? What if I do too much? What if I don't do enough at all? Let Hydrodynamics Core take all the stress and the frustration out. And it's extremely reasonable in cost as well. Finally, the irrigation systems I mentioned. If you have one, they get put through the stress test throughout the summer. And you need to have a Hydrodynamics Core out to come out. Give it a little fine tune, to keep it in peak performance, probably around, a few weeks from now. So I would get on the phone with them right now. And where can you find them? Hydrodynamicscore.com. It's a family-owned business. It's been around since 1973. They're in their second and third generations, and they've been so successful because they are that good. They're wonderful people. They'll take great care of you and your lawn or your business facility today. Hydrodynamicscore.com. Hydrodynamicscore.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Want to hear the best kept secret in St. Louis? Staff's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares. According to our customers, we have the best St. Louis style pizza anywhere. And we can't disagree. Dine in, pick up, or delivery in St. Peter's, St. Charles, Lake St. Louis on Pond Trail, and the original Stefanina's in O'Fallon on Veterans Memorial Parkway. Check us out at staffspizza.com. Staff's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares.
Are you tired of chiropractors who rush treatments and overcharge? At Dr. Toby's place, Dr. Tobin Lingenfelter takes a different approach.
I believe in listening to my patients, understanding their needs, and treating the whole person.
Whether it's back pain, headaches, or joint issues, Dr. Toby is committed to your complete wellness journey.
I'm not satisfied until you're feeling your best.
Dr. Toby's place, where your wellness journey begins. Call 314-221-4913 or visit softwavemo.com. That is softwave, W-A-V-E, mo.com.
Tether roof off, we gonna tether roof off the mother sucker. Tether roof off the sucker. Tether roof off, we gonna tether roof off the mother sucker. Tether roof off the sucker. Tether roof off, we gonna tether roof off the mother sucker. Tether roof off the sucker. Tether roof off, we gonna tether roof off the mother sucker. Tether roof off the sucker.
Dropping truth bombs and making you think. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
Welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, featuring the one and only Vic Porcelli. You've got to be the hard. I'm going to say this so Jeff's listening. Hopefully Joe too. Hardest working guy in the station. Vic Porcelli, hardest working guy in the station. I'll say it again.
You hear that?
Yeah.
I have a New York question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Didn't you spend a lot of time in New York?
Almost 10 years.
Did you ever have dinner at Umberto's Clam House?
I don't think I did, although why does that sound familiar?
That's where they shot Crazy Joe Gallo.
Okay. You know where I ate, though? I ate in the restaurant on Arthur Avenue in Little Italy in the Bronx, right across from Fordham, which was allegedly, I think it's Maria's.
Yeah.
Where
Carmine Galante.
Where the Godfather scene.
Oh.
With Michael Corleone.
Oh.
Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't look like that anymore, but it's supposed to, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be that place.
Louis' restaurant in the Bronx.
Yeah. And so I think it was called Maria's when I was there. You know, it changed hands or whatever. But Vic, I took my family up to New York in 2018, I think. And we flew into LaGuardia and we spent a couple days downtown in Manhattan and I ran them ragged. They're like, Dad, how did you survive? My daughters were so funny. They were exhausted. After 3 days in Manhattan, they were exhausted. My wife they were like, how did you survive up here? They loved it. They loved it because the sights and the sounds and the people and the smells and the food. But after we were heading out, we rented a car and then drove up to Boston after that. And they were like, Dad, how'd you live here for 10 years? This place is exhausting. You know, I'm like, well, you just kind of got used to it. You know, I mean, that's the thing. New Yorkers are not, I always say to people, they get a bad rap. They're like, everyone's like, oh, the New Yorkers are so rude. No, they're just in a hurry.
Right.
They're just in a hurry.
That's somewhere to be.
There's nothing rude. And they're very, I love, you know, here in the Midwest, you've lived here long enough. You know, we have these Midwestern sensibilities and we're all very nice. Sometimes we're not as direct as we should be.
Yeah.
I got very used to that in New York. Everybody said exactly what they were thinking. You knew exactly where you stood with everyone. You knew who your friends were and your enemies.
You know what's great too? In New York, how you doing doesn't mean how you doing.
Right.
Don't tell me how you're doing.
Right.
Okay. It's hi. Just
Right.
say how you doing back. We both go our separate ways.
Right.
Right or wrong?
That's exactly right. So we had a great time, and then we went up to this is where I was going to go. The day we were going to head up to Boston, we went back to LaGuardia. We rented a car, and I said, hey, we gotta run up to the Bronx. And I want to show the girls my old stomping grounds. Fordham's campus, as you know, is beautiful up there in Rose Hill.
Got a great radio station, too.
WFUV.
Yep.
And right across the street is Little Italy in the Bronx. And it's got the bakeries that are open 24/7 and the restaurants. And we went to this, it was Sunday afternoon. So they all had brunch.
Nice.
And they're all these little tiny storefront restaurants on these like 4 or 5 streets in that area. And so we picked one and we went in. They put us in a little courtyard in the back and they had this buffet, Vic, that was just massive, this giant buffet. And we ate everything, we drank everything. And then we went over and walked around campus and then we went up to Boston after that.
That's
and then
great,
up to Bar Harbor, up to Maine.
That's great.
It was a great trip. It was something I'll remember forever. And it was a great time with my family.
friend of mine, TK Tripucka, went to Fordham. TK's brother was Kelly Tripucka,
okay,
who played in the NBA.
Oh, wow.
He went to Bloomfield High School, was a year behind me. And boy, did he make high school basketball fun for us, man.
Mhm.
He could
Mhm.
dunk, so when he dunked, the crowd went crazy.
I bet.
And he was so great, and the team was great. We were like number one in the state. Kids were scalping tickets for a high school basketball game.
kidding.
I swear to God.
Wow.
And so Kelly went on to Notre Dame, played at Notre Dame.
Okay.
And then played for the Detroit Pistons and later the Charlotte Hornets, scored 60 points in one game one time. And his big brother, TK, went to Fordham.
That's really cool. We've got that old gym there that just celebrated the old gym. It's basically a historical landmark now. It just celebrated its 100th anniversary right there on campus in the middle of the Rose Hill campus. Fordham has, for folks who don't, it has multiple campuses. The original campus is what you would think, the big Gothic buildings, the big giant quads, the brick and the stone, all there in the middle of the Bronx. And it was great because on one side we had the world famous Bronx Zoo. On the other side, we had the world famous Botanical Gardens, the New York Botanical Gardens. On the other side, we had Little Italy. And then, Vic, everybody's got a bad side. The fourth side was the Tremont side. You had to kind of be a little more cautious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, back then.
You got to be more cautious everywhere in the Bronx right now.
Yeah, and it's had some regentrification. And, there's some famous bars up there we used to go to. And my favorite was the rugby bar. The rugby guys were so cool. The Fordham rugby team, those guys were the best. They were all big beefcake guys, and they were all very friendly guys. And they would go to this bar called the Jolly Tinker.
Right.
Up on, what was the name of the avenue up there? I'll think of it in a minute. And it was an avenue that kind of went on one side on the south side of Fordham, and Jolly Tinker. And then we had Clark's Bar. Clark's was run by these Irish guys that you couldn't understand because they were like right off the boat.
Oh my God, I love it.
These little short leprechaun looking guys with red hair. And you'd be like, we had this joke, this one guy, I don't know if his name was Billy or whatever. We'd say to the one guy, "Where's Billy?" And the answer was always, "Oh, he's around."
That's so funny.
Well, where is he? Well, he's around, And so there was just all these ethnicities. And that's Vic, I understood when I went to New York, white kid from Eureka, Missouri. I understood what the Great American Melting Pot was.
Yeah.
And then the Democrats destroyed all that over the last 20, 30 years. We used to be in a time when I was in New York in the 90s. I was basically there in the 90s. It was the era of the greatest mayor ever, Rudy Giuliani. Yes. It was the rise of Donald Trump, the great real estate magnate, blah, blah, blah. And I was with people of all persuasions, Jews, Gentiles, Italians, Bosnians, Irish, black, white, Puerto Ricans. We all just got along. Everybody just helped each other through life.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was crime. There was all that. But Giuliani, that was the 90s. Was the renaissance of what I still consider the greatest city on the planet. And then Ding Dong, Bloomberg came in and started screwing things up. And then Comrade de Blasio really messed it up. And so I don't know if Adams is going to be any better or Cuomo is going to come back and fix it at all. But, New Yorkers, they're not, they're liberal, but they're not insane lunatics like out in La La Land.
That's right.
Anyway.
And Times Square was just bad before Giuliani showed up. But in 1986, Christmas Eve, 1986, was Beefsteak Charlie still there when you were there, right at Times Square?
Yeah.
So I take my girlfriend at the time to dinner at Beefsteak Charlie's, and I proposed to her on the board at Times Square.
No way.
Yeah, exactly 8 o'clock. I told the girl we're going to go out at 8 o'clock. She said, "Oh my God, that's so much fun." So I said to my wife, "Can we go outside for a minute? It's pouring out, right?" And my wife with her mouth, "It's pouring out." So we went out, and the thing went up there. And did I know the entire staff of the restaurant was out on the street clapping and cheering for us.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So I mean, Midtown Manhattan especially was my playground. So WFUV, did you listen to that at all? Vince
I was
Scelsa?
right there on campus. I did a little work with them while I was there. Yeah.
Vince Scelsa there yet?
Yeah, I remember the name. Yeah.
He used to be at WNWFM. He's awesome. All right,
that's awesome.
We got to go.
Yeah, we got to go. Vic, thanks so much for everything. I've got the Larry Connors hit here.
Oh,
he's coming up next.
I love that.
Larry Connors USA. Larry's got State Department warning for Americans in Middle East. Sanctuary mayors and governors claim they're doing nothing wrong. And from a disaster, the true story of a miracle. Oh, that's interesting.
How about that?
Listen to Larry Connors, Vic Porcelli, and Ken Williams. 9 a.m. to noon tomorrow. Help you take you into the weekend. We'll wrap things up with the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Thank you, producer Joey V, keeping us on the rails. Thank you, Vic, very much. It's always great to be in studio with you. We'll be back. Larry Connors next, 1019-941 News Talk STL.
Military history buffs and collectors, attention. Looking for authentic military collectibles? Look no further than Alamo Military Collectibles, your one-stop shop for genuine military artifacts, firearms to uniforms, medals to memorabilia, pistols, rifles, bayonets, insignia, patches, helmets, field gear, and more. Both American and foreign